Banger after banger.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, leave me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on Twitter, TikTok, all those cool things. Hit me up on the community posts. You know how we get down, man. And it's time for the AEW Dynamite review. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. And I gotta say, man, Dynamite this week, pretty on point show, man. Action packed, whole lot going on in this week's episode. A lot of things setting up for this week's Rampage. A lot of things setting up for next week's show. Overall, man, it was a good show. Normally I wait till the end of the review to give my rating, but I'm gonna just go ahead and knock it out right now. This week's show definitely gets an honorary W. From the time it started all the way up to the end. And it kicked off with Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page. Now, this week's Dynamite took place in, I want to say, Toledo, Ohio. I know it was in some part of Ohio. I want to say it's Toledo, Jon Moxley's home state. And, of course, Jon Moxley makes his way to the ring, coming through the crowd like he always does. And this time, he comes to the ring with Wheeler Yuta and his dad. Jon Moxley's dad, not Wheeler Yuta's dad. I don't know if... Anyway, Jon Moxley came out to the ring with his dad and Wheeler Yuta. Hangman Adam Page came out, and the crowd was booing him. I don't even know how Jon Moxley started bleeding, but he started bleeding. It's a Jon Moxley match, so you already know he's going to bleed in some way, shape, or form. Eventually, they got into the ring. The match started, and this was a good match. This wasn't even like a technical classic, a master class, one of those catch can, whoever catch can is. This was a straight up fight. These two were throwing hands, arms, elbows, scratching, clawing, biting, all types of weird shit. A whole bunch of clotheslines. Speaking of clotheslines, Jon Moxley kicked out of the buckshot lariat. Jon Moxley kicked out of a tombstone pile driver. He just kicked out of a whole bunch of stuff. And Moxley ended up winning with a cradle. Like, it was like a surprise roll up cradle pin type thing. And then after the match, it looked like they just wanted to fight some more. Like, you had the Blackpool Combat Club come out. Claudio Castagnoli and Will Yuta came back out, and they were pretty much trying to hold these two back. Like, you had them come out, officials come out, trying to hold Jon Moxley and Adam Page back, because it looks like they wanted to keep fighting. And I'm pretty sure that they're gonna have another match. I thought that this would be it, but it looks like they're gonna wrestle again. Like, these two do not like each other. They were throwing middle fingers up. Jon Moxley kept saying F you to Hangman. I think Hangman said it back to Jon Moxley. So it looks like they're gonna wrestle again in the near future. Why? I don't know. I guess they just don't like each other. Like, these two just straight up hate each other. So moving on to Jamie Hayter talking to the Bunny, who was standing beside the Butcher and the Blade. And next week they're gonna have an eliminator match. Basically, what an eliminator match is, if the Bunny can beat Jamie Hayter, she has a title shot in the near future. So as they're talking, it cuts to another part of the arena, and you see Saraya and Toni Storm attacking Britt Baker. So it just furthers the heel turn. Britt Baker is officially a face now, I guess. So I don't know where this is gonna lead, but yeah, man. Next up, we had this random match out of nowhere. I think that they were for the tag team titles. You had the Acclaim taking on, I don't even know who these two Rudy Poos were. They kind of look like bootleg, great value, off-brand versions of the Ass Boys. I think that's what the aesthetic was that they were trying to go for. The Acclaim won in a pretty quick fashion. It was a glorified squash match. After the match, the Ass Boys came out, and they pretty much laid it out on the table. They laid everything on the line. They challenged the Acclaim to a tag team title match. And the Acclaim asked the fans, like, hey, do you think the Ass Boys deserve a shot at the tag team titles? And the crowd said no. So the Acclaim said, nah, you're not getting a tag team title shot. And then you had the Ass Boys pretty much just talking trash to the Acclaim, talking trash to Billy Gunn, aka Daddy Ass. And Billy Gunn was like, look, I'm tired of this. I'm old. I'm tired, man. I missed out on another DX reunion. I'm just I'm just mad at the world at this point. So he leaves the ring. And then you have one of the Gun Boys pretty much saying, yeah, that's right, Dad. Leave us. Do what you do best. And that's drown all your problems in the bottom of a pill bottle. And the crowd went, oh. And I was at home like, oh. So Billy Gunn just gets back in the ring and says, look, you guys want the tag team title match so bad. Next week, you got it. So it's official for the tag team titles. The Acclaim will finally take on the Ass Boys. And I don't know, man. For some particular reason, I think the Gun Club is gonna win the tag team titles. I don't know if it's gonna be due to shenanigans from Billy Gunn, or if they cheat somehow, or I don't know how they do it. But I think the Ass Boys are gonna be the new tag team champions. But I think it's gonna set up for a rematch at Revolution, I guess. But I think the Acclaim are gonna, I'm not the Acclaim, but the Gun Club is gonna be your new tag team champions. I don't know. Alright, so after this, we had a match between Takeshita and Brian Cage. Now, I think this match was announced earlier in the day on Twitter. But this was a pretty good match. I do gotta give Brian Cage his props. Like, I'm not the biggest Brian Cage fan, but these past couple weeks, man, I do gotta give Homeboy his props. He's been doing the damn thing. But Takeshita, though. Takeshita was throwing around Brian Cage like he was somebody that's my size. Now, as you can see, I'm not the biggest person in the world, but you would think that he was throwing me around the way he was throwing Brian Cage around. Like, Takeshita is dummy strong. Like, this dude was hitting German suplexes and all types of suplexes. Takeshita ended up getting the win. Like I said, man, it was a pretty good match. Really good match. Takeshita, they're really all in on Takeshita. The crowd loves him. AEW loves him. I love him. You should love him too. Takeshita, the man. Speaking of the man, we go to Jungle Boy, who says that him and Jungle Hook is not really a thing anymore. Like, they had 2 good matches together, but Jungle Boy is not interested in tag team titles. He's already been a tag team champion. Now he's focusing on singles gold, whether it's the All Atlantic Championship, the TNT Championship, maybe a Ring of Honor Championship, I don't know, but he's focusing on singles gold for himself. So next up, we have a backstage segment featuring the Jericho Appreciation Society, and MJF to sue the Jericho Appreciation Society is because they straight up stole his gimmick, his whole thing, and that is making the opponent run the gauntlet. So I'm assuming next week is gonna be the Guevara Garcia gauntlet match, where pretty much what Ricky Starks has to do is beat all the members of the Jericho Appreciation Society in order to get his hands once again on Chris Jericho. I guess. I guess. I wouldn't be surprised if he made it all the way to like Sammy Guevara or Daniel Garcia and somehow got screwed out of the match, but still somehow he gets his hand on Chris Jericho. Somehow, some way, he's gonna get his hands on Chris Jericho, but I don't think he's gonna make it all the way through the gauntlet. I think he's gonna either lose to Sammy Guevara or Daniel Garcia. We'll see. I don't know. But this leads us into another pre-tape segment between the Elite. They pretty much set up a match. No, they're having a match for, I don't know if it's an eliminator match or if it's for the trio championships, but I think next week the Elite is going to take on Top Flight and AR Fox. Pretty cool. A whole lot of flips going to be going on in that match. But as the Elite are setting up for that match, you have Stokely Hathaway, Ethan Page, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy pull up, and they pretty much lay the challenge out for Rampage. So this Friday on Rampage is going to be the Elite taking on Ethan Page and the Hardy Party. Should be a pretty entertaining match. And for some reason, Isaiah Cassidy moaned in Kenny Omega's ear. Moving on to something more serious, and that is Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, taking on the British person, Toothless Timmy himself, the pride of England, Timothy Thatcher. I don't care what anyone says, this man is British. They can say he's from Sacramento all you can say he's from Sacramento all you want. I don't believe it. This man is British. He looks British. He wrestles like he's British. He's British. The internet says he's British. Damn it, Timothy Thatcher is British. So this was pretty much what you expected out of a Timothy Thatcher Bryan Danielson match. Them pretty much beating the hell out of each other. Some good technical wrestling. Some good strong style going on. And during the match, you had MJF come out. I think he was trying to cast distraction, trying to interfere, trying to ultimately cost Bryan Danielson the match so he wouldn't have to wrestle him at Revolution. And as MJF is making his way out to the ring, Takeshita comes out. He makes a save. Once again, Takeshita having Bryan Danielson's back. And exactly what happened between Bryan Danielson and the Blackpool Combat Club. Because for the past couple of weeks, not near member of the Blackpool Combat Club has come out to save Bryan Danielson's ass at all. Like, he's been getting beat up by Brian Cage, MJF, all these different people. Nobody from his squad comes out. Like, they have matching track jackets and the logo and everything, and they don't come out to help the boy, man. They don't come out to help the Planet's champion. You have someone who's not even affiliated with the group, and Takeshita coming out and making the save. So I think Takeshita and Bryan Danielson, they should have their own combat club and maybe face the Blackpool Combat Club. I don't know. Is it Combat Club? Combat? I don't know. But so as Takeshi's making the save, him and MJF fight to the back. The match is still taking place, and Bryan Danielson ends up winning with the Busaiku knee. Makes the cover. 1, 2, 3. Pins British ass Timothy Thatcher. It cuts back to the back, and MJF and Takeshita are fighting. And as they're fighting, you have officials and referees breaking up the fight. And Renee Paquette makes the announcement. Tony Khan has made it official. Next week it's going to be MJF taking on Takeshita in another championship eliminator match. So if Takeshita beats MJF, he'll be able to get a title shot. Do I think that's going to happen? Maybe. Like, wouldn't it be funny if somehow, some way, Bryan Danielson somehow cost MJF the match and Takeshita gets the title shot? How crazy would that be? Takeshita getting a pinfall victory over MJF. That would be some crazy shit. But next week is going to be Takeshita versus MJF. I'm ready. Speaking of matches that are taking place next week, and speaking of Bryan Danielson, it's going to be Roosh taking on Bryan Danielson. We did have MJF pull up in LFI's locker room with a briefcase full of money, pretty much letting Roosh know, listen, I need you to handle business next week. I need you to beat Bryan Danielson. I need you to break Bryan Danielson's arm. I need you to hurt this man. Handle business. So Roosh says something in Spanish. MJF, being the insensitive human being that he is, says his Spanish is como se dice mid. MJF, he's such a character. There were a whole bunch of backstage segments going on this week, because you had another backstage segment. This one was featuring Swerve and the Mogul affiliates, pretty much continuing to call out Dustin Rhodes. Also, this week on Rampage, Swerve is going to wrestle with Brian Pillman Jr. I don't know when's the last time we've seen Brian Pillman Jr. on TV. I think it was like a few weeks ago. I don't even know if he's still tagging with Griff Garrison. Does Griff Garrison even still work for AEW? I don't know. But this Friday on Rampage is going to be Swerve Strickland with the Mogul affiliates taking on Brian Pillman, and then sometime in the near future it's going to be Swerve taking on Dustin Rhodes. So yeah, man. So now we have the 9 o'clock, 9:30 women's match, and this is gonna be for this was for the TBS championship, TBS title being defended on TBS. You'll love to see it. Red Velvet trying to be the 1-49-1, taking on Jade Cargill, and the match was actually pretty solid. It wasn't that long of a match, but for the time it did get, it was a pretty solid match. Kiera Hogan came out trying to help Red Velvet, but actually ended up costing her the match, because there was a point where Red Velvet actually had Jade Cargill pinned. She had her down for the count of 3, but because the referee was distracted with Kiera Hogan, that ended up costing Red Velvet the match. because Jade Cargill got the Jaded, hit it on Red Velvet, hit the 1-2-3. She's now 50-0, man. 50 wins in AEW. She is still undefeated. That's pretty impressive. And the thing I will say about Jade Cargill is she continues to get better with each and every match. Her improvement has just been really good, really tremendous, man. You look back from where she started to where she is now. She's a star. I've always said that from day one she's going to be a star, and she is. So now it's time for the main event. Darby Allin taking on Samoa Joe for the TNT Championship in a no disqualification, no holds barred match. And this was crazy from jump because you had Samoa Joe come out first, and then Darby Allin made his entrance. He took his ring jacket off just to reveal that this man had a thumbtack hoodie. Now, how crazy of a man do you have to be to make a thumbtack hoodie? Do you know how crazy and patient you have to be to individually put each and every thumbtack on a hoodie? But this shit is crazy. But yeah, man, it was an absolutely fun match. It was violent. Samoa Joe was bleeding hard way, I think. Because what happened was Samoa Joe was bringing in a table, like he was setting up a table on the outside, and Darby Allin did one of those sick suicide dives to the outside through the table, and the leg of the table ended up cutting Samoa Joe like above his eyebrow, and this dude was bleeding heavy. Samoa Joe was just throwing Darby Allin all around the ring, all around the arena, fighting through the crowd, fighting in the stands, going through tables, suicide dives, thumbtack spots. He put the thumbtack hoodie back on, tried to hit the coffin drop. He actually did hit the coffin drop. Samoa Joe ended up kicking out of the coffin drop. So what Darby Allin ended up doing was he went to the outside of the ring. He lifted the ring apron, cutting the canvas that goes over top. Like how the ring is set up, you have the canvas, and then you have some padding, and then you have the wooden part of the ring. What Darby Allin ended up doing, he ended up cutting the rope that holds the canvas over the wooden part of the ring, lifted that part up, and then what had happened was Samoa Joe ended up hitting a damn muscle buster on Darby Allin on the wooden part of the ring. Really crazy spot, really gnarly spot. Samoa Joe got the 1-2-3. He is the new 2-time TNT champion. He now is once again the king of television. He's still the Ring of Honor TV champion, and like I said, 2-time TNT champion. So as Samoa Joe is celebrating, you have the return. I called this last week. You have the return of Wardlow with his fresh haircut. He had to take time off to get his haircut right. I think what it was he had to find the right barber, because whoever cut his hair did him justice. He did him right. He had Wardlow lined up just right. Had the beard looking good. Had to find the right barber, man. It takes time to find a good barber. So I think that's why Wardlow took so long to come back. He had the return of Wardlow. Made his way to the ring. He tried to powerbomb Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe made his way out of the ring. He had security come out. Officials, the security and officials for this week's Dynamite, I hope Tony Khan pays them overtime because they were all over the place. I hope he pays him triple because Wardlow was mad now. He couldn't get his hands on Samoa Joe, so he ends up beating up security. He powerbombed one guy. And that's how you end this week's episode of Dynamite. Like I said, man, this episode of Dynamite was really good. I gave it the honorary W. Whew, what an episode, man. And a lot of good things going into next week's episode. So I've done all the talking I need to do. I'm tired now. I need to go edit this and lay down. But before I do, I have to ask the traditional question, and that is, what did you guys think of this week's episode of Dynamite? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Be easy. I'm out. Peace.